It is estimated that thousands of women and girls are trafficked in and out of South Africa every year. Most of these victims come from destitute South African countries like Lesotho, Mozambique, and Malawi. This practice is modern-day slavery and qualifies to be thoroughly scrutinized. What exactly is human trafficking? What does it involve? And what kind of life are victims subjected to once trafficked? We seek answers to these questions on today's episode of Gender Space. I'm your host, Rabura Letsemo, and welcome to the show. You are tuned into Gender Space on Dumisa TV, channel 340, and the topic is gender and trafficking of persons in South Africa. What do you know human trafficking to be? How can we curb this ill? Let us know on our social media pages, YouTube at Commission for Gender Equality, X at CGE_ZA, Facebook, Commission for Gender Equality, Instagram at CGE Live, and we are also available on email, info@cge.org.za. In the studio to help us unpack today's topic is the CGE's Kineilwe Mokalane. Welcome to Gender Space, ma'am.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Alitsemo.
Kineilwe, today's topic is very sensitive and serious, but it's one of those realities in South Africa that we need to talk about. Please just help us to understand, what is human trafficking?
And Dr. Alitsemo, you need to remember how trafficking includes ntho tse ngata. However, ha re tlo sheba definition ya trafficking, ya re jwetsa how does it happen and what happens during the process ya trafficking. In the how ya trafficking, it is the recruitment, it is the transportation, it's the harboring, it's the selling, and it's the recruitment of the victims. In the what, it is your manipulation, the tactics that are being used to lure in the victims of trafficking. So in itself, it is the exploitation of the victims for profit.
So what are some of those tactics that they're using?
They differ depending on what is the exploitation for. If you find that if it's for sexual exploitation, Rabu, you would find that beautiful girls are recruited. They are recruited and being told that there's a beautiful offer somewhere in another country, that they should partake in it, And if it's for labor, you find that people are being recruited in a sense that you are being told that there's a job somewhere waiting for you. The only thing that you need to do is to avail yourself. So tse ding tsa dintho tsa human trafficking, iba hore ha ile ntate ba tlo sebedisa mokgwa ofeng. At times bana le ho sebedisa, they use force. At times they use manipulation. At times they use coercion, and manipulation, because they look at a person's circumstances and give you a guarantee that, where I'm taking you, there's hope, there's a better life where you are going.
So if you say that if they're promising you a better life from, to on the other side, wherever they are trafficking you, are you saying that there may be discussions that are held with the potential victim?
Definitely.
To misinform the person maybe, or?
Yes, definitely, Rabu. Misinformation is the biggest trick in the book when it comes to trafficking. Most of the victims would tell you that I thought I was going there for a job placement. I didn't know that I was going to be exploited there. And in fact, Rabu, it's so sad because some of the victims don't even know that they are being trafficked. They are just under the impression that I'm going there to do something, or I'm going there to become a businesswoman, or there's a business opportunity, or there's work opportunity that is taking place.
I think you are leading us to actually asking the question around what are some of the contributing factors, that leads to trafficking of humans.
Rabu, poverty has come to play quite a huge role when it comes to issues of profit making, because that is how people are manipulated. When I'm being promised that my family circumstances are going to change and I'm born in a family where there's serious cases of poverty, definitely I'll jump into the opportunity. We also do know that sometimes it's not being aware, Abu, that you are a victim. You are actually being recruited for being a victim of trafficking.
Is there any other methods or strategies that you like to share with us that perpetrators of this horrendous act lure their victims into their web?
Social media, Rabu, it's come to play a critical role. As you know, back in the days, there was no social media. Internet was not really that popular. At this moment, social media is one of the one that contributes quite a lot. We see on a daily basis that you have won something or that there's a job offer somewhere. Just apply, just click the link, then you get a job. Sometimes it's even the hacking of our own systems, that allows for this for us to be easily lured into the trafficking ring.
Kinelwe, in your explanation of what is human trafficking, will something very interesting, Hore. It can happen from out of our borders, and then batho ba tliswe kamo or batho ba ntshiwe kamo. Is that the only way? Ke yona fela tsela e leng gore human trafficking in persons ya etsagala, or South Africa re na le di province tse 9, a gona any human trafficking e etsagalang interprovincially?
And the interprovincial ibilaneng yona e bobebe haholo ho etsahala hobane ha o ka hopola haholo transportation system ya rona ha legislated, and ha ho sebediswa di-truck most of the times le public transport ya rona, so ho sebediswa tsona di-truck tseo ka tse ding hape e be tsona dikoloi tse di sebediswang ho tsamaisa ha di-victim ha ho transportiwa victim ho tswa provinceng e nngwe ho ya provinceng e nngwe. So yona ha e felle fela ka tabeng ya hore ho tswa South Africa ho ya countryng e nngwe, le hara di-province motho o suthiswa ho tswa Northern Cape a iswe Gauteng province.
So ho na le batho ba ileng hore ba trafficwa ka hara naha ka mo ba tshepiso hore kwa Gauteng mohlomong o monate kapa he re tla o isa kae di-mining ka kwa o tla fumana monyetla.
Arabu ke nnete, le ka hara province motho o kgona ho traffickiwa o le ka hara province eo, kore fela ka lebakeng la hore mode wa transport o tlo sebedisang o ye o nahane hore mohlomong o shebe province ya Northern Cape, who travel to a further distance tshwana le Springbok ke 800 kilometers, so o tlo tsamaya di-hour di le kae ho lebeyang hore mohlomong o ile Cape Town o mpong o ile Gauteng hanti o teng hara province yona eo.
So motho a ka utswiwa a ba lahle fela
hara province eo
ba habo ba sa
tsebe ya etsahala haholo di-provinces tse holo tse tshwanang le tsona tseo, and ra tseba le Gauteng province ya etsahala within the province. We've had incidences that these buildings that are being taken over, ya etsahala hore batho ba nkiwe ho etse di-factory mo batho ha ba sa hlole ba tswa ha ba kene ka mo di-buildinging tseo.
Ke utlwisisa. If you have any complaint related to this issue of gender and trafficking, you can call the Commission for Gender Equality on 0800 007709 to lodge a legal complaint. It is a free call.
We should all take into cognizance that human trafficking, whether it is expressed or not, it is another form of gender-based violence, because with human trafficking, there are other secondary victimization or violations that are perpetuated on the person being trafficked, whether be it sexual exploitation, whether be it forced labor, whether be it drug smuggling, whether be it unpaid labor, whether be it sex work, you may name them. The human trafficking always, these kind of violations always are following, or rather are happening during or after a human is trafficked.
Remember to have your say on our socials: YouTube at Commission for Gender Equality, X at CGE_ZA, Facebook, Commission for Gender Equality, Instagram at CGE Live, and also on email info@cge.org.za. With the clip that we have just seen now, it is interesting that it looks like, there are many reasons. Na le mabaka a mangata a etsang hore batho ba traffickiwe. So potso e ka ratang go botsana kore ke mofuta wa batho ba jwang ba traffic-wang. How that, ke batho ba jwang ba e leng gore di-traffickers decide gore we want this kind of person?
Rabu, motho e mong le mong a ka traffic-iwa. A se hore ke seemo se se jwang ompong ke ka lebaka le feng, mara ho ye ka lebaka la exploitation e batla ho sebedisetsang yona le le etsang hore ba kgethe motho ya itseng. Empa bo mme bo ntate bana kaofela ha rona le the LGBTI ba ye ba sebediswe ba ye ba nkiwi ho traffic-iwa.
Fela why bana le batho ba bo mme e le bona hangata ba e leng gore e ka re ke bona ba traffic-iwang?
Ho ye ho be bobebe ho nka batho ba bo mme le bana Rabu, hobane ha ho tla ha re ka sheba seemo sa matla a sebediswang ha ho tla ntlheng ya trafficking ka ho hong ho ye ho sebediswe matla. So ha ho sebedisiwa matla motho wa mme le ngwana ho ye ho be bobebe hobane wa nka fela wa tsamaya ha o bankile. And sometimes o thola hore a newborn baby who was not even registered because hona le parent e nngwe e tshepisitsweng in another country for adoption ya ngwana. Ankiwe sepetele ha ona motho a tsebang di-particulars tsa hae. Ntho e a nang le yona fela at that moment ha fetsa o tsala ngwana ke the umbelt e buang ka lebitso la hae hore o tsetse ka letsatsi le feng motswadi wa hae ke mang. So ke yona e etsang bobebe. And hape haholo ha re ka sheba sexual exploitation ha o tla bo batho ba bo mme le bana yona e phahame haholo ho feteng di-trafficking, the different types of trafficking tse teng.
Ka mokgwa o hlalosang ka teng ha ke hane ke a utlwa o bua hore batho ba tshepiswa bophelo bo botle ha ba ka dumela ho iswa ko ba traffickelwa plekeng e itseng. Wa etsahala vele
Haholo Rabu.
ke tjho hore wa etsahala hore ba bo fumane bophelo ka moo?
Hle Rabu, o hopole hane re hlalosa trafficking re itse ra re manipulation ya etsahala, false information ya sebedisiwa. So ha o ye ho etsahale hore o thole bone bobebe bo ne bo tshepisitswe. Ke ka ho e re bontshang hore cohesion e o etsahetseng hore ka nnete ha o ne o tsamaya wena ne o sa tsebe hore o ya kae. So ke yona he e etsang he hore re khone ho tseba hore ke yona trafficking hobane wena o tsamaile o tseba hore o tsamaela bophelo bo betere empa ha o fihla mo yang teng you find that you are being exploited, manipulated. O yo hopole maemo a rona a economy a South Africa Rabu. Ha re se re fihle boemong bo e leng hore we are developed. So maemo a mosebetsi a fatshe haholo ha o fihlang hare ha bo mme le hare ha batjha. So ha motho a ka fihla ko nna a ntshepisa hore ko ke yang teng ke tlo thola bophelo bo betere ke nahane hore ke yona fela hore nka kgona ho tswa seemong se ke leng ho sona.
No ke a utlwisisa. Ke na le utlwa batho ba bua ka lentswe le la sejahlapi ba re human smuggling. A go re hlalosetse hantle hore human trafficking or trafficking in persons le human smuggling ke ntho e le nngwe kapa di fapane? Ha ile re di fapana jwang?
Okay, Rabu di ha se ntho tse tshwanang empa ka lebakeng la hore hona le transportation le ka hare re di fapanye re nahane hore ke ntho e nngwe empa smuggling yona ke nna le motho ya ntsamaisang re kena tumelanong ya hore o tla ntsamaisa ho lo feta border ha re fihla mo ke mo relationship ya rona e fellang teng. Empa human trafficking yona, it is beyond that. The victim and the trafficker, the relationship continues because there's certainly something else awaiting the victim when you cross the borders, even interprovincial.
If kutsa hantle kore ha ile smuggling ho na le tumellano hore nthuse ho ya kae o mfihlise plekeng etse. Trafficking ha ona tumellano o jetswa leshano hore o tla fumana bophelo bo botle kae but ho feta mo hape ore relationship ye ya human trafficking e ka ba tellenyana le a setse o le ko plekeng o tshepisitsweng le thabo teng le seyong leo.
O hopole hane ke qala Rabu ke itse ke re trafficking e kenyeleditse false information. So nna ke tlo ya ka tumelano ya hore ke nahana hore mo ke yang teng ho bobetere. Empaneng e se yona he ntho e tla etsahalang mo ke yang teng. Ya ka kena ka tumalano eo. Empa seemo se change ha ke fihla mo ko rekisiwang teng. Ompong where I'll be harbored. Ompong mo ko exploitiwang teng.
Mo ilo sebediswang teng.
Ehe.
Oh no, ke a hlalohanya. Ho na le se se mohlomong so ka batlang ho se tlalelletsa ka smuggling.
Ka smuggling hape ra bure hopole hore ka makgetlo a mangata ha motho a smuggliwa o thole hore dipampiri tsa hae tsa ho crossa border ho ya plekeng engwe di sa loke. So that is why motho a tla be a re ha entsamaise hobane motho ona wa tseba hore ko ke yang teng ke tlo feta ko kae mo ke sa tlo tholang teng. So ke yona ntho e etsang hore ebe tumalano. And e kenyeleditse le tjhelete hobane nna ke tlo dumelana le motho o ntsamaisang hore ke tla o fa tjhelete e itseng.
No, di a utlwala. No, ke taba tse bohloko tseo. And le yona eo ya smuggling, le yona ntse etsahala ka hara naha kapa yona ke a fela o ntshuwa ka ntle or o kenywa.
Smuggling haholo e etsahala ha o tswa le ha o kena. Mara ka a mang makgetlo e etsahale le ka hara di province. Ke batla ho tswa Free State ke Gauteng province. Empa ha ke batle hore batho ba tsebe ompong hore hona le ntho e ke entseng provinceng ena. Ke a batliwa provinceng eo, so ke batla ho tsamaisiwa mo ke sa tlo tsejwang teng. Hobane sometimes re thola ho ba le di-accident di tseleng, ho ba le maphodisa a tlo nkemisa. So o tlo nkenya mohlomong ka buthung, kenye ka begeng or ka motaereng and o ntsamaise tsela eo.
No, ke a utlwisisa. It's time for us to go to another short break, but remember to interact with us on social media pages. You already know where we're at. We are on YouTube at Commission for Gender Equality, X at CGE_ZA, Facebook, Commission for Gender Equality, Instagram at CG Live, and also on email, info@cge.org.za. Stay tuned in because the conversation continues on the other side of this video. Welcome back. This is Gender Space. We are continuing with our discussion on human trafficking. Between December 2007 and January 2022, over 11,000 human trafficking cases were reported in South Africa. According to a 2019 UN report, most Africans see South Africa as the easiest country of transit to reach Europe or Americas. I don't know what to say. I'm happy to see that at least there's work that's being done and tracking of the cases, because the availability of this kind of information is very important. So I'd like to know, let's help the viewers understand that we spoke mostly about people being trafficked into the country. Do we have a lot of cases where they are trafficked out of the country?
Yes, Rabu, we do. If you can remember that we said it's transporting in and out, including in and out of the country. We have Namibia, we have your Egypt, we've got your Pakistan, where this trafficking also takes place from South Africa to those countries.
So those are the popular countries where people are likely to be trafficked?
Definitely.
What fate awaits them once they leave South Africa?
Rabu, as I said, exploitation will depend on the services that they need them for. If it's a sexual labor exploitation, that is what they're going to use them for. If it's for people who cannot have children, they would take a woman to another country so that this woman can fall pregnant on their behalf and then take the child for them. And then it's also labor, cheap labor, Rabu. We know that there are so much big factories in other countries where people don't even have rights to speak about your hours of work and things like that. So those are some of them. Servitude, where we find that most of the times people are just used as domestic workers, but they don't even get the salary.
What is the Commission for Gender Equality and other stakeholders doing to combat trafficking in persons?
Rabu, our role as the Commission is to monitor government departments and private entities on what do they do in terms of intervention. And also, if you can remember, the CGE also sits on the provincial task team, trafficking in person task team, and also at a national level.
What basically those provincial and national task teams are doing, and also do we have laws in the country, that we are using to combat trafficking in persons?
We do have the Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Person Act 2013. It's a law, the act is from 2013. So far, there has not been any amendments. At the provincial level, it's just to check and also to monitor as well, like the CGE's role, being able to monitor that what is taking place in terms of intervention at a provincial level, and also in terms of a national level to account and also to be able to make a recommendation to Parliament and say, this is where institutions fall short. Can we improve in situations like this? And can we do, include maybe work on our budgets when it comes to some of these issues?
What are the stakeholders, or who are the stakeholders, in the task team, and what kind of support, is provided to victims of human trafficking?
Okay, Rabu, we have the Rapid Response Team. The Rapid Response Team, you would remember, these are your SAPS, your Department of Justice, your NPA, your the Hawks, because they are the first recipients of victims and complaints that handle the victim when there's complaints of trafficking. And then you find that your departments like your Department of Health, your Social Development, which offer psychosocial services, and your Department of Health playing a role when it comes to issues of health, because sometimes we find that some of the victims were used as instruments of drug muling, you understand? So they would need a process of rehabilitation. They would need a process of medication and their health also to be looked at when they come from one country to others. You find that other countries had a breakout of something. When they come to the countries, we need to check some of those things. Some of those things need to be checked out. Some of our NGOs also plays a critical role, Rabu, because remember, they are always available when it comes to our community members, because after social development, we have our NGOs to be able to provide continuous service when it comes to the victims.
Thank you very much, Kineilwe, for indulging us and educating us about trafficking in persons. We have come to the end of this week's episode of Gender Space, but the conversation doesn't have to end. It continues on our social media platforms. You already know the handles. Let's do this again next time, right here on Dumisa TV, channel 340. Until then, take care of yourself, one another, and good night.